All right, let's talk about something that could totally change your farm's bottom line, the Mucuna bean. We're talking about a high-protein superfeed that can slash your costs. But, and this is a big but, it comes with a very serious warning label. So let's dive right in.
Wow, I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? The stakes here are as high as they get. This isn't just about saving money, it's literally life and death for your animals. Getting this right is a complete game changer, but getting it wrong is a disaster. So the big question is, how do you get it right? Well, the secret to safely using Mucuna all comes down to one simple but powerful idea: the golden rule of two stomachs. You have to understand that not all animal stomachs are created equal. Once you get this one concept, everything else just falls into place. So what are we actually dealing with here? The Mucuna bean, sometimes called the velvet bean, is an absolute protein powerhouse. The catch? It's got this built-in defense mechanism, a natural compound called L-dopa. Now, for some animals, it's totally fine, but for others, it's a poison. And the difference is all in their plumbing. And this slide right here breaks it all down perfectly. On one side, you've got your ruminants. Think cows, goats, and sheep. They have this incredible multi-chambered super stomach called a rumen. It's like a fermentation vat full of tiny microbes that just neutralize that L-dopa toxin, no problem. But then you have the monogastrics, pigs, chickens, rabbits. Their stomachs are a lot more like ours, just a single chamber. And that simple stomach just can't handle the toxin. For them, the raw bean is dangerous. Okay, so now that we get the two stomachs rule, let's start with the easy part. How do we feed this to our animals with those amazing built-in detox systems? For cows and goats, it honestly couldn't be easier. You don't have to boil anything, you don't have to soak anything. All you do is wait for the pods to get dry, grind them up into a meal, and then mix it right in with their regular feed. It's a simple three-step ticket to a super cheap protein supplement. And just look at that number, 30%. You can replace nearly a third of a cow's or goat's diet with this stuff. Just think about what that does to your feed bill, especially when grazing is scarce. It's a massive, massive advantage. Now, hold on. Even with these tough-gutted animals, there is a limit. You gotta remember, Mucuna is really energy dense. So the rule of thumb is to cap a cow at about 2 kilos of the pods per day. Any more than that and you risk bloat. It's just a simple safety rail to keep everyone healthy. All right, time for the main event. This is where we earn our stripes as farmers. This is the real challenge, making Mucunas safe for our pigs and poultry. And here, the rules are absolutely non-negotiable. Let me be crystal clear about this. I can't say it enough. Never, ever feed raw, unprocessed Mucuna beans to pigs or chickens. It's not a matter of if they'll get sick. They will. It's a predictable and fatal mistake. Period. So how do we make it safe? The classic method is called soak and boil. First, and this is super important, you have to crack or grind the beans. If you don't, the water can't get in to do its job. Then you soak them for a day or two. You'll literally see the water turn dark. That's the poison leaching out. You have to pour that water out and replace it. Then a good rolling boil for a solid hour. Finally, you can dry them out and mill them into a safe powder. Now, if you want to level up your game, there's the potash method. By adding something like wood ash to the soaking water, you make it alkaline. This creates a chemical reaction that yanks that toxin out of the bean way more efficiently. The key here, though, is that you have to rinse the beans really, really well with fresh water before you do the final boil. Okay, but what if you're in a pinch and soaking and boiling just isn't going to happen? There is a quick fix: roasting. Now, to be clear, it's not as good at removing the toxin as boiling is, but it's a whole lot better than feeding them raw. You just roast the beans in a hot pan, keep them moving constantly until that raw, beany smell disappears, and you get a nice, nutty aroma instead. So, you've done all the hard work. The beans are processed perfectly. You're done, right? Not quite. Even after you've detoxified the beans, how much you add to the feed is absolutely critical. You can't just go all in. This table right here is your cheat sheet. And notice how sensitive pigs and poultry are. We're talking about starting with just 5 to 15% of their total diet. You have to start small and watch your animals closely. For your laying hens, the processing has to be perfect, or their egg production will just tank. But then, look back at the goats and cattle, all the way up to 40%. It just shows you what a world of difference that super stomach makes. We've covered the rules, we've covered the methods, and we've covered the numbers. But now it's time for the most important part, the final safety check.
How do you know for sure that your feed is safe before you give it to your entire flock or herd?
Well, your animals will tell you. You just have to know what to look for. These are the red flags. In pigs, it's that frothy vomiting, and they'll just go right off their feed. In chickens, look for droopy wings, they won't want to eat, and their droppings will look darker than usual. These are the signs that your processing wasn't quite good enough.
And that brings us to the ultimate safety net. This is the one rule you can never, ever break. If you have any doubt whatsoever, test your processed batch on just a couple of animals first. Give them 3 days. If they're happy, healthy, and eating well, then, and only then, can you start mixing it in for everybody else. This simple test is what prevents a small mistake from turning into a farm-wide catastrophe. So there you have it, the complete farmer's guide to a bean that is both a massive opportunity and a serious risk. It can save you a fortune, but it demands your respect, your knowledge, and your attention to detail. You've got the blueprint now. The only question left is this risky bean the future of your farm?